9 hidden signs she's secretly fantasizing about you. She can't stop thinking about you. Psychology tricks. Attraction doesn't shout, it whispers, and only the attentive hear it. When a woman can't get you out of her mind, her behavior tells the story long before her lips ever do. Desire rarely announces itself directly. Instead, it shows up in subtle movements, fleeting expressions, and unconscious habits she doesn't even realize she's revealing. These are the quiet signals, the psychological breadcrumbs that point straight to what she's feeling beneath the surface. Most men miss these signs entirely, not because they aren't there, but because they don't know what to look for. And when those signals go unnoticed, so do opportunities for deeper connection, stronger chemistry, and genuine emotional pull. But once you learn how to read these cues, everything changes. You stop guessing. You stop overthinking. You begin to understand what her actions are already saying for her. In this video, I'm breaking down 9 hidden signs that reveal she's secretly fantasizing about you and thinking about you far more than she lets on. These aren't random habits or coincidence. They're proven psychological indicators that she's moved you out of the casual category and into her private mental world. Make sure you watch until the end, because sign number 9 is the one women struggle the most to hide. It slips through their control and exposes exactly what's going on deep inside her emotions. The first sign is that she fidgets when you're near. The first sign she's secretly fantasizing about you, and one of the most overlooked signals in female psychology, is that she fidgets when you're near. Fidgeting is rarely random and almost never meaningless when attraction is involved. It is one of the clearest physical expressions of nervous energy. Nervous energy appears when emotions rise faster than logic can keep up, when excitement meets uncertainty, and when the body reacts before the mind has time to put on a mask. If she suddenly becomes restless around you, adjusting her bracelet, touching her necklace, twisting a ring, fixing her watch, smoothing her clothes, or lightly tapping her foot, don't brush it off as habit. Habits don't spike suddenly and selectively. Attraction does. Her body is responding to the emotional charge you create without asking her permission first. This is where psychology tricks quietly reveal what words try to hide. When a woman feels drawn to a man, her nervous system becomes more alert. Her awareness sharpens. Her body starts searching for release from that internal tension. That's why she might absent-mindedly play with a pen, bite her nails, shift her weight from side to side, adjust her posture repeatedly, or touch objects near her hands as if she needs something to ground herself. These actions may look small or even cute on the surface, but underneath they signal heightened attention, emotional stimulation, and a subtle loss of composure that only happens when someone matters. Don't assume she's uncomfortable in a negative way. There is a huge difference between discomfort and charged anticipation. Attraction often lives exactly in that space where excitement and self-control collide. Be observant, not reactive. Be calm, not eager. Your steadiness amplifies her emotional response far more than chasing ever could. Notice the timing, because timing is everything in female psychology. If her fidgeting increases the moment you enter the room, when you sit closer, or when direct conversation begins, that pattern tells you far more than compliments ever will. Here's a psychology trick most men miss entirely. Watch what happens when you step away. If the fidgeting fades, slows, or disappears once you're gone, that contrast is powerful evidence that you are the emotional trigger. Your presence created the internal buzz her body was trying to manage. That kind of response doesn't come from casual interest or polite attention. It comes from mental engagement, from curiosity, from imagining possibilities, from wondering how you see her and how she feels when you look back. Don't rush to call it attraction out loud. Don't label it. Don't test it prematurely. The goal isn't to force how to fall in love. The goal is to understand how attraction builds naturally when pressure is absent and confidence is present. Remain grounded. Speak slowly. Listen carefully. Let silence do some of the work. When you don't rush to fill the space, her nervous energy has room to grow. That growth deepens the emotional imprint you leave. This is where psychology tricks become practical wisdom rather than manipulation. Understanding female psychology isn't about control. It's about awareness, about seeing what others overlook and responding with restraint instead of impulse. When you do that, you position yourself as the calm center in her emotional storm. The man whose presence stirs something she can't quite explain, yet keeps her wanting more clarity, more interaction, more proximity. Don't interrupt her fidgeting by calling attention to it. Don't tease her about being nervous. That pulls her back into self-consciousness. Instead, hold eye contact just long enough. Smile lightly, then relax. That combination tells her you see her without needing to claim anything. That quiet assurance is essential in how to fall in love without forcing outcomes. Attraction grows in the space between certainty and mystery. Her fidgeting is proof that space exists, proof that her emotions are active even if her words stay neutral. Trust what you observe. Stay patient. Let her nervous energy do what it naturally wants to do. Pull her closer emotionally while you remain steady, grounded, and unmistakably present. When a woman's body reacts before her mind catches up, it's not coincidence. It's connection forming in real time. Understanding that is one of the most powerful psychology tricks a man can quietly master. The second sign is that she plays with her hair. The second sign she's secretly fantasizing about you, and one that quietly reveals far more than most men realize, is that she plays with her hair. Hair is one of the most powerful tools women use to signal attraction, often without conscious intent. When she twirls a strand between her fingers, runs her hand through it, brushes it behind her ear, or flips it lightly over her shoulder while talking to you, she isn't simply fixing her appearance. She's drawing attention. She's highlighting herself. She's saying, without words, "Notice me." This behavior is deeply instinctive. She's not planning it. She's not calculating it. Her body is responding to how you make her feel. In moments of attraction, a woman naturally wants to enhance what she believes makes her appealing, and hair becomes a focal point because it frames the face, softens expressions, and signals openness. Don't ignore that. Be aware. That is where psychology speaks louder than conversation. On a deeper level, playing with her hair often reflects nervous excitement. Attraction doesn't always show up as confidence. Sometimes it appears as self-conscious energy. If she feels emotionally stirred around you, her hands may move to her hair as a way to release tension, calm herself, and stay grounded in the moment. This isn't insecurity. This is stimulation. Her mind is engaged. Her emotions are active. Her body is adjusting. That matters. Timing matters even more. If she touches her hair right after making eye contact with you, right as you begin speaking, or during moments of focused attention, it's rarely coincidence. Patterns don't lie. Random habits don't suddenly activate only in your presence. Attraction does. This is female psychology working quietly in the background, revealing interest without needing permission from logic. Don't rush to react. Don't comment on it. Don't call attention to her movements. You must stay centered. A high-value man understands that attraction grows when pressure is absent. When you remain calm, grounded, and relaxed, her awareness of you intensifies. That steadiness strengthens your masculine energy. It signals confidence without words. It creates emotional safety while maintaining mystery. This is how you attract women without chasing them. Hair play also signals something else that many men miss. It's a form of self-presentation. She's checking herself. She's adjusting. She's subtly asking, "How do I look to you?" That question alone tells you she cares about your perception. Indifference doesn't adjust. Interest does. This doesn't mean she's ready to confess feelings. It means she's mentally placing you into her awareness. She's including you in her internal world. That is a meaningful step. Be patient with it. Let it unfold naturally. But don't stop at the hands. Don't stop at the hair. Because hair and fidgeting are only the surface. The real story is often told through her eyes. Eyes don't lie easily. A woman can control her words. She can even control her posture. But her gaze exposes emotions she hasn't fully decided how to handle yet. Watch how long she holds eye contact. Watch how quickly she looks away. Watch how often her eyes return to you even when she pretends to focus elsewhere. That rhythm tells you everything. When her eyes soften while she touches her hair, when her gaze lingers just a moment longer than necessary, when she looks away and then back again, that combination signals emotional curiosity. She's wondering. She's imagining. She's feeling. Don't interrupt that process. Don't try to rush her into certainty. Confidence doesn't demand answers. Confidence allows space. That is the mindset of a high-value man. Be present. Speak clearly. Listen more than you talk. That is how you amplify attraction. That is how you let her emotions grow without resistance. Masculine energy isn't loud. It's stable. It's controlled. It's calm. When you embody that, her nervous habits intensify because her emotions have room to expand. That's how you attract women who are genuinely interested, not just momentarily entertained. Don't mistake these signs as guarantees. They're indicators, not promises. But patterns matter. Repetition matters. Context matters. When hair play appears consistently around you and fades when you're gone, that contrast speaks volumes. When her eyes light up when you enter the room, when her posture shifts toward you, when her hands move as if guided by instinct rather than thought, you are witnessing attraction forming in real time. You must resist the urge to label it too early. Don't push. Don't test. Don't seek validation. Let her signals come to you. Let her curiosity deepen. Let her awareness grow. That patience is what separates men who chase attention from men who naturally attract it. A high-value man doesn't need to convince. He allows. Understand this. Attraction isn't built through clever lines. It's built through presence, through emotional steadiness, through awareness of female psychology without trying to control it. When you see these signs clearly and respond with restraint, you elevate yourself. You strengthen your masculine energy. You become the man who draws interest rather than demands it. So pay attention, not obsessively, calmly. Let her hair tell its story. Let her eyes finish it. Stay grounded. Stay observant. Stay confident. That is how attraction quietly grows. That is how you attract women without force. And that is how a high-value man moves through these moments with clarity, patience, and unmistakable self-respect. If this hit home, don't just scroll past it. That moment when she plays with her hair isn't random. It's awareness. It's attraction. It's her body reacting before her words catch up. So if you understand this, drop a comment right now and claim it. I notice what others overlook. Like this video, subscribe for more sharp psychology and unshakable masculine wisdom, and remind yourself daily, attention is never accidental. It's instinct. The third sign is that her eyes linger on you. When her eyes linger on you, understand this clearly. This is not coincidence, and it is never accidental, because attention is currency and the eyes spend it first. People have said this for centuries, and they were right, because the eyes never lie even when the mouth does. And when a woman is mentally drawn to a man, her gaze reveals what her words carefully hide, holding just a moment longer than polite, returning again and again as if pulled by gravity, glancing away only to come back because the mind is already engaged, already curious, already invested. And science confirms what intuition has always known, because pupil dilation occurs when emotional interest, curiosity, and stimulation are present, meaning her body responds before she has time to calculate or restrain herself. And if her eyes seem brighter, wider, more focused when you speak, that is not admiration alone. That is attention narrowing. That is her world shrinking down to you in that moment. And when her gaze drifts from your eyes to your lips and back again, understand the meaning without confusion, because this is a subconscious projection of intimacy, imagined closeness, a silent rehearsal of something she may never openly admit but cannot stop considering. And this is where modern men often fail, because they either miss the signal entirely or overreact emotionally, and both responses weaken their position. While a man with an iron mind observes without chasing, understands without rushing, and remains grounded in self-command, because attraction deepens in stillness, not in neediness. And this is where Old Stoic wisdom becomes practical power in modern life. Because as Marcus Aurelius reminded us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength, and that strength is exactly what her eyes are searching for. Not validation, not approval, but presence, certainty, emotional stability. The quiet authority of a man who is comfortable being seen without trying to perform. Because when you stay calm under her gaze, when you do not fidget, rush, or seek reassurance, you communicate confidence without words, and confidence amplifies attraction more than any scripted line ever could. And in today's world of constant distraction, where attention is fragmented by screens, notifications, and endless noise, sustained eye contact has become rare and therefore powerful. And when a woman chooses to rest her attention on you, she is choosing you over the chaos, even if only for a moment. And moments compound into impressions. Impressions become emotional memory, and emotional memory becomes longing. And this is why the man who understands these signals does not interrupt them with insecurity. He allows them to breathe, because as William Shakespeare wrote, they are portents, but they are not prophecies, meaning the sign is an invitation, not a guarantee. And how you respond determines whether interest grows or fades. So your instruction here is simple and firm. Notice without staring, acknowledge without chasing, stay relaxed, stay grounded, stay present. Let her eyes do the work while you do nothing but remain centered. Because Stoicism Win is not about manipulation, it is about mastery. Mastery of self first, mastery of emotion second, mastery of life third. And when you embody this, you stop trying to extract meaning from every glance and instead allow patterns to reveal themselves naturally, because one look can be curiosity, but repeated lingering is intention. And intention forms when a woman feels safe, intrigued, and emotionally stimulated in your presence. And that safety comes from consistency, calm speech, controlled body language, and emotional independence, all core pillars of Stoicism Win. And in modern relationships, where confusion and mixed signals exhaust men emotionally, this clarity becomes your advantage because you are no longer guessing, you are observing. And when you observe correctly, you act less and achieve more because you are not driven by impulse, you are guided by awareness. And awareness sharpens judgment, and judgment builds confidence, and confidence is what makes her eyes return again and again without effort. Because the truth is this, women fantasize not about men who chase attention, but about men who command it naturally, men whose presence feels steady, whose reactions feel measured, whose silence feels intentional. And when you cultivate an iron mind, when you live by Old Stoic wisdom applied to modern life, you stop reacting emotionally to attraction and start leading the interaction calmly. And that leadership is felt long before it is spoken, because her eyes already know before she does. And your task is not to rush the moment, but to hold it with composure, because victory in attraction is not about conquest, it is about control, control of self, control of pace, control of energy. And this is how you master life quietly, decisively, and without force. This is Stoicism Win in action, and this is how attention turns into desire without you ever needing to ask for it. The fourth sign is that she leans closer to you. The fourth sign is that she leans closer to you, and this is far more meaningful than most men realize, because physical distance is one of the clearest, most honest forms of communication a person has, especially when words are carefully controlled or emotions are not yet openly expressed. And the truth is simple. People do not step into another person's personal space unless something inside them feels safe, curious, drawn, and quietly excited. So when a woman begins to reduce the distance between you and her, she is not doing it by accident. She is responding to an internal pull she may not even fully understand yet. And that pull is rooted deeply in female psychology, because attraction often shows up in the body long before it shows up in language. And you must understand this if you want to read the situation clearly, without guessing or forcing meaning where it doesn't belong. So pay attention when she leans in while you're speaking, when her shoulders angle toward you instead of away, when she steps closer than necessary even though there is plenty of room. Because those are not random movements. They are subconscious choices. And subconscious choices are where real desire lives. Don't dismiss them. Don't laugh them off. And don't rush to label them as coincidence, because that is how many men miss signals that are right in front of them. And when she brushes lightly against you as she walks by, or lets her arm touch yours for just a moment longer than required, that gentle contact is her body testing connection. Not in a dramatic way, not in a way that demands a response, but in a quiet, safe way that allows her to feel how it feels to be close to you. And this is where psychology tricks often mislead men, because the loud signs are easy to spot, but the subtle ones are where the truth hides. And this is one of them. And you must be calm enough to notice it, confident enough not to overreact, and grounded enough not to chase it. Because when she leans closer, she is not asking you to do something. She is revealing something. And there is a big difference. And if you understand female psychology at a deeper level, you'll see that closeness is not only about attraction. It's about comfort, trust, and emotional safety. And when she consistently positions herself near you, chooses the seat next to you even when other seats are open, turns her chair fully toward you instead of keeping her body half turned away, she is signaling that she wants to be present with you. Not just hear you, but feel you. And that matters more than compliments ever could. Because words can be polite, but the body tells the truth. And this is where many men make mistakes, by either ignoring the signal or rushing ahead of it. So don't invade her space. Don't mirror her movement immediately. And don't assume closeness equals permission, because attraction grows best when it is allowed to breathe. And the irony is that when you remain composed, relaxed, and emotionally steady, her body will often move even closer on its own, because confidence creates safety, and safety fuels desire. And this is one of the most overlooked psychology tricks in attraction. The less you push, the more the pull strengthens. And when she leans in again and again across different moments, different conversations, different settings, that repetition is key, because patterns reveal intention. And intention is where how to fall in love truly begins. Not with dramatic gestures, but with consistent, comfortable closeness. And you must be present enough to notice that she is not just leaning toward your words. She is leaning toward your energy, your calm, your presence. And this is especially important for men between 35 and 70, because attraction at this stage of life is rarely loud or impulsive. It is subtle, intentional, and deeply rooted in emotional resonance. And when a woman leans closer to you, she is often doing something very personal. She is inviting you into her emotional space without saying it out loud. And that takes trust. And trust does not come easily. So don't rush to label it. Don't pressure it. And don't test it with insecurity. Be steady, be observant, and let the moment unfold. Because when you understand female psychology, you understand that leaning closer is often her way of saying, I feel connected here. And that connection is the foundation of attraction that lasts. Not the kind that burns fast and fades, but the kind that grows quietly and stays. And if you want to know how to fall in love without losing yourself, this is where it starts. By respecting the signal without exploiting it, by acknowledging the closeness without demanding more, and by staying grounded in who you are. Because the most powerful response to her leaning closer is not action. It is presence. And when you master that, you stop chasing signs and start recognizing them. You stop guessing and start understanding. And you naturally step into a position where attraction flows toward you instead of away. And that is the real lesson hidden inside this fourth sign, one that most men overlook. But the ones who understand psychology tricks and female psychology deeply never do, because they know that closeness is not about touching. It is about connection. And connection is what opens the door to something real. If this opened your eyes, don't just watch and move on. Take action. Like the video, subscribe for more psychology tricks, and drop your comment below to lock this lesson in. Comment to remember, when she leans closer, her feelings are already speaking. The fifth sign is that she mirrors your actions. The fifth sign is that she mirrors your actions, and this is one of the most fascinating and revealing psychology tricks in attraction, because mirroring is not something people usually do on purpose. It happens beneath awareness, quietly, naturally. and almost always honestly. When a woman mirrors you, she is not performing, she is responding. This is how human beings instinctively build comfort, trust, and emotional connection. Think of it like two instruments slowly tuning to the same frequency. At first, the sound is uneven. Then, without effort, they align. That is mirroring. And when it happens between a man and a woman, it tells you something important is already in motion. If you cross your arms and moments later she does the same, that is not coincidence. If you lean forward slightly and she follows your movement, that is not mimicry for fun. That is alignment. If your tone is calm and measured and she begins to soften her voice to match, that is emotional syncing. Pay attention. Don't rush past it. Don't laugh it off. Because mirroring is one of the clearest signs that she is mentally and emotionally engaged with you. Mirroring goes far beyond posture or gestures. It reaches into rhythm, mood, and energy. If you speak slowly and thoughtfully and she adjusts her pace to meet yours, she is tuning in. If you become more animated and she matches that enthusiasm, she is meeting you where you are. And this matters because attraction is not built through impressing. It is built through resonance. When she mirrors you, she is saying, without words, "I'm here with you." This is female psychology at work in its most honest form. Her subconscious wants harmony. Her mind wants to stay connected. Her emotions want to feel safe in your presence. And safety is where attraction deepens, especially for men in the 35 to 70 range, where connection is no longer about speed, but about substance. Be clear about this. Mirroring does not mean agreement. It does not mean submission. It means rapport. It means her nervous system feels comfortable enough around you to sync. That is not something you can fake. And it is not something you can force. You must earn it through presence, calm confidence, and consistency. That is why a high-value man often experiences mirroring without trying. He is grounded. He is steady. He is not chasing reactions. And because of that, people naturally adjust his pace. This is masculine energy expressed quietly, not loudly. It does not demand attention. It attracts it. Watch what happens when you change your energy. If you become serious and reflective and her tone softens to match, she is emotionally tracking you. If you relax and smile and she mirrors that ease, she is responding to your emotional lead. This is one of the most overlooked psychology tricks because many men look only for obvious signs, big gestures, clear statements. But attraction rarely announces itself. It reveals itself in patterns. And mirroring is a pattern you cannot ignore if it appears consistently. One moment means little. Repetition means everything. If she mirrors you once, notice it. If she mirrors you across different moments, different conversations, different environments, understand it. Because repetition reveals investment. Do not test her. Do not exaggerate your movements. Do not turn this into a game. Be natural. Be yourself. Let the interaction flow. The moment you try to manipulate mirroring, you break the connection. And remember this. A high-value man does not chase signs. He recognizes them. He does not rush forward. He allows attraction to unfold. That patience is part of what helps attract women who are emotionally mature and genuinely interested. Masculine energy is not about control. It is about calm leadership. And mirroring often follows leadership naturally. There is another layer here many men miss. She may also mirror your values, your language, and your outlook. If you speak about life with optimism and purpose, and she begins to echo those ideas, that is deeper alignment. If you express curiosity and she mirrors that openness, that is emotional compatibility forming in real time. This is not imitation. This is connection. And connection is how to fall in love slowly, safely, and with clarity. Not through intensity, not through pressure, but through shared rhythm. Don't confuse mirroring with flattery. Flattery is conscious. Mirroring is instinctive. One is chosen. The other simply happens. And because it is subconscious, it is far more reliable. Female psychology often reveals desire through behavior long before words catch up. That is why men who understand these signs stop guessing and start observing. They stop performing and start leading with authenticity. And that authenticity is what allows them to attract women who feel emotionally seen and understood. Be present enough to notice. Be grounded enough not to react impulsively. Be confident enough to let the moment breathe. Because when she mirrors you, she is not asking for proof. She is responding to who you already are. That is powerful. That is real. And that is why this fifth sign matters so much. It tells you that she is not just listening to you, she is aligning with you. And alignment is where attraction turns into connection, where connection turns into trust, and where trust opens the door to something meaningful. The sixth sign is that her feet point toward you. The sixth sign is subtle, quiet, and powerful, and it reveals far more than words ever could. Her feet point toward you, and this is not coincidence. It is psychology in motion. Most people never think to look down, yet the body always tells the truth before the mouth does, and feet are among the most honest indicators of interest in human behavior, far more honest than smiles, nods, or polite conversation. Because facial expressions can be trained, filtered, and controlled, while the feet operate almost entirely outside conscious awareness, reacting directly to where attention, comfort, and curiosity truly live. When a woman's feet angle toward you during a conversation, even if her eyes drift or her words are shared with others, it means her mind has already locked onto you as the focal point. In group settings, this signal becomes even clearer because she might be laughing with friends, responding to someone else, or appearing socially engaged. Yet if her feet remain pointed toward you, her subconscious has already chosen you as the center of gravity in that space. As the old saying goes, the body never lies, a truth echoed by Ralph Waldo Emerson when he said, "What you do speaks so loudly that I cannot hear what you say, because attraction is rarely announced. It is revealed through alignment. And alignment always begins at the ground." In modern life, where people are distracted, overstimulated, and trained to mask their intentions behind screens and social scripts, these physical cues matter more than ever because attention is the most valuable currency we have. And when her feet point toward you, she is investing that currency without realizing it, placing you at the center of her mental map. This is where Old Stoic wisdom quietly applies, because the Stoics taught that truth shows itself through action, not declaration, through patterns, not promises, and this single signal fits perfectly within that framework because it is not forced, not performative, not designed to impress. It simply is. On the other hand, when feet consistently angle toward an exit, another person, or away from you, it signals that her mind is elsewhere, already preparing to disengage, already searching for distance, and again, this is not about judgment. It is about awareness, because awareness is power, and power is calm, and calm is the mark of an iron mind. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, you don't have to turn this into something. It doesn't have to upset you, and the same applies here, because recognizing attraction does not mean chasing it, reacting to it, or clinging to it. It means understanding the terrain and moving with clarity instead of hope, with observation instead of need. And that is exactly what Stoicism WIN represents in modern relationships, the ability to read reality as it is, not as you wish it to be. For men navigating dating and connection later in life, especially between 35 and 70, this insight is crucial because attraction today is rarely loud. It is layered, nuanced, and often unspoken, shaped by experience, caution, and emotional memory, and women who have lived and learned are far more likely to reveal interest through subtle consistency than bold gestures. So when her feet consistently point toward you across time, across settings, across moods, it means you feel safe, intriguing, and mentally stimulating to her, and that is no small thing, because safety and intrigue rarely coexist unless you are grounded, present, and self-contained. This is where iron mind thinking separates men who feel confused from men who feel composed, because instead of overanalyzing texts, replaying conversations, or seeking validation, you observe patterns, and patterns tell the truth. As Carl Jung famously said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. And here, you are simply making the unconscious visible. The advice is simple but demanding. Do not chase signs, do not confront them, do not test them. Instead, remain steady, remain attentive, remain centered, because attraction deepens when it feels unpressured, when it feels earned rather than extracted. Let it inform your confidence, not inflate your ego. Let it guide your pace, not rush your actions, because mastery in life and relationships comes from restraint paired with awareness, not impulse paired with excitement. In a world obsessed with fast signals and loud confirmations, this quiet key rewards patience, and patience has always been a Stoic advantage, because as Seneca wrote, "He who is brave is free." And bravery here means trusting what you see without forcing what you want, standing firm without demanding reassurance, and allowing attraction to grow naturally within the boundaries of self-respect. This is how you win without competing, how you attract without pushing, how you master life without chasing approval. Because when your presence is calm, your energy grounded, and your attention measured, others will unconsciously align toward you, sometimes starting with nothing more than a pair of feet pointing your way. And if you can recognize that, respect that, and remain unchanged by it, you're already practicing Old Stoic wisdom, already living Stoicism win, already strengthening an iron mind that sees clearly, moves deliberately, and understands that true victory is not being wanted, but being unshaken. If you notice this sign, you're already seeing what most men miss. Attraction speaks before words ever do. When her feet choose you, her mind already has. If this resonated, drop this in the comments to lock it in and engage with the channel. I recognize real attraction when it reveals itself, silently, honestly, and without confusion. The seventh sign is that she touches her neck or collarbone. The seventh sign is when she touches her neck or collarbone around you, and this is one of the most quietly revealing behaviors a woman displays, because these areas are naturally sensitive, exposed, and emotionally charged, meaning her body is responding before her words ever catch up. And when she adjusts her necklace, lightly brushes her fingers along her collarbone, or rubs the back of her neck while speaking to you, it's rarely random or meaningless. Because female psychology tells us that the body often communicates interest long before the mind consciously admits it. And there are two powerful forces working together here that most men overlook. The first is self-soothing, because when attraction creates excitement and internal tension, the nervous system looks for subtle ways to calm itself. Touching the neck is a deeply ingrained calming gesture. It helps regulate emotion, lower internal pressure, and steady her breathing. So don't dismiss it as fidgeting. Be observant, because this is her body managing the emotional charge you're creating. The second force at play is signaling, because the neck and collarbone are intimate areas that are rarely highlighted unless a woman feels safe, engaged, and emotionally open. And when she draws attention to them in your presence, she's unconsciously inviting your awareness without making a direct move, which is a classic example of how attraction operates beneath the surface through suggestion rather than declaration. And this is where psychology tricks come into play, because attraction isn't loud, it's layered. And when she pairs this gesture with steady eye contact, a soft smile, or a slight lean toward you, the meaning intensifies. That is not coincidence. That is alignment. And you must understand that comfort and attraction are inseparable at this stage, because a woman does not expose vulnerability unless she feels emotionally grounded in your presence. So don't rush. Don't interrupt the moment. Don't force a response. Instead, stay centered. Stay calm. Because how to fall in love often begins with emotional safety rather than dramatic gestures. And the way you respond matters more than the gesture itself. Because if you become reactive, overconfident, or distracted, you break the emotional rhythm she's creating. But if you remain present, grounded, and attentive, you allow her interest to deepen naturally. And this is why men who understand female psychology don't chase signals. They allow signals to come to them, because attraction grows in the space where pressure is absent. And when she touches her neck while listening closely to you, nodding, or asking personal questions, it shows she's not only physically engaged, but mentally invested. And that mental placement is crucial, Because once a woman starts associating calm, safety, and emotional stimulation with your presence, the bond forms quietly but powerfully. And this is where many men sabotage themselves by over-explaining, oversharing, or trying to impress, when the real move is restraint. Because confidence is felt most strongly when nothing needs to be proven. So be steady, be deliberate. Let silence do some of the work, because silence allows her thoughts to fill in the gaps. And those gaps often become fantasies. And psychology tricks aren't about manipulation. They're about understanding human nature, because attraction follows patterns whether people are aware of them or not. And when a woman repeatedly exposes vulnerable areas of her body around you, especially during emotionally charged moments, she's signaling openness and trust, which are prerequisites for deeper emotional connection. And you must recognize that this sign often appears when she's internally conflicted, between wanting to maintain control and wanting to lean in. And that tension is what creates the behavior. So don't misread it, don't dismiss it, and don't rush to label it. Instead, observe the consistency, because patterns reveal intention. And when this behavior appears repeatedly only around you and not others, that exclusivity matters, because attention is selective, and attraction narrows focus. And this is how to fall in love without forcing it, by allowing emotional cues to unfold organically while you remain composed, curious, and grounded. Because women don't fall for words alone. They fall for how they feel when they're around you. And if your presence allows her to feel calm yet stimulated, safe yet intrigued, then her body will continue to speak even when her mouth stays quiet. And that is the quiet power of understanding female psychology. Because once you see these signs clearly, you stop guessing, you stop doubting, and you start responding with intention rather than impulse. And that is what separates men who are constantly confused from men who are quietly chosen. Because attraction isn't created by pushing, it's created by presence. And when you recognize these moments for what they are and respond with patience and self-control, you allow the connection to move forward on its own momentum, which is always the strongest kind. And this is why psychology tricks work best when they're rooted in awareness rather than tactics. Because the goal isn't to force emotion, it's to recognize it when it's already forming. And when she touches her neck or collarbone while engaging with you, that moment is an invitation, not for action, but for steadiness. And if you honor it correctly, you'll notice that her openness grows, her comfort deepens, and her attention stays. Because how to fall in love often begins long before anyone admits it out loud. And the body always knows first. The eighth sign is that she blushes around you. The eighth sign is that she blushes around you, and this one matters more than most men realize because blushing is one of the clearest windows into female psychology and one of the most reliable psychology tricks the body reveals without permission. Blushing is not strategy. It is not performance. It is not something she plans or practices. That soft warmth rising to her cheeks happens when emotion slips past control, when attraction reaches a level that the nervous system reacts before the mind can intervene. When a woman feels a sudden mix of excitement, curiosity, and emotional tension around a man, blood naturally rushes to the face, and that visible change becomes a quiet confession. If you notice her cheeks warming when you walk into the room, when you speak her name, when you offer a genuine compliment, or when you step just a little closer into her space, don't dismiss it. Don't rationalize it away. Don't assume it's coincidence. Be aware. That is her body responding to you in real time. This is where how to fall in love becomes less about words and more about awareness. Many men miss this sign because they are trained to look for loud signals, bold gestures, or dramatic moves, but attraction often speaks in subtle ways. Blushing bypasses logic. It jumps past rehearsed responses. It goes straight to truth. That is why it matters so much. A woman may try to remain composed. She may keep her tone steady. She may even change the subject. But her body has already spoken. That is female psychology at work, revealing itself through instinct rather than intention. When you see the sign, you must slow down, not speed up. Don't pressure. Don't push. Be calm. Be grounded. That is how trust deepens. That is how emotional connection forms naturally. Blushing often appears when she feels seen, when your attention lands on her in a way that feels personal rather than performative. It is the body's response to being emotionally touched without physical contact. This is one of those psychology tricks that works in reverse. Instead of you trying to create attraction, attraction reveals itself to you. And once you understand this, your behavior changes. You stop chasing reactions. You start observing patterns. You learn how to fall in love by recognizing when emotion is already present and allowing it to breathe. Blushing tells you that you matter in that moment. It tells you that your presence affects her internal state. That is not small. That is significant. Be respectful of it. Be patient with it. Don't try to force clarity too quickly. Let the moment stand. Because when attraction reaches the point where the body reacts before the mind, you are no longer guessing. You are witnessing truth unfold quietly, honestly, and without disguise. The ninth and final sign is that she focuses on her lips. The ninth and final sign is quiet, controlled, and incredibly revealing, and it shows up when she focuses on her lips, because when a woman can't stop thinking about you, her body often speaks before her mind catches up. And the lips become a subconscious outlet for imagination, desire, and emotional attention. You may see her gently bite her lower lip, lightly lick them, press them together, or touch them absent-mindedly while listening to you, and none of this is accidental, because as William James once said, the body reacts before the mind explains. In modern life, where people are trained to hide feelings behind screens, filters, and polite conversation, these microsignals are some of the last honest tells left. When her eyes briefly drift from your eyes to your lips and back again while her fingers linger near her mouth, she is not just listening, she is visualizing, imagining closeness, imagining what it would feel like to be nearer to you. And this is where Old Stoic wisdom becomes powerful, because the man with an iron mind does not rush, does not chase, does not react impulsively. He observes. He remains grounded. He lets attraction reveal itself naturally, and that calm restraint is exactly what deepens her focus. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events, and this applies perfectly here, because the moment you stay composed instead of overeager, you amplify her imagination. You give her space to project desire." And that is how Stoicism Win plays out in real relationships today, not through manipulation, but through presence, clarity, and self-control. Understand this clearly. Attraction grows strongest in silence. Tension builds in restraint. Fantasy flourishes when a man does not beg for attention, but commands respect through calm confidence. So your instruction is simple. Hold eye contact without staring. Speak slowly and deliberately. Don't fill every pause. Don't lean in too fast. Let her lips betray her thoughts while you remain centered, because repetition matters. Calm creates curiosity, patience creates pull, and emotional discipline creates magnetism. In a world addicted to instant gratification, the man who embodies Old Stoic wisdom stands apart. The man with an iron mind lets signals come to him. And the man who lives Stoicism Win understands that attraction is not forced, it is invited, reinforced, and deepened by mastery of self. Remember this. She focuses on her lips because she is already focused on you. She touches them because her imagination is active. And she can't stop thinking because you didn't try to control the moment. You allowed it to unfold. And that is how you master not just attraction, but life itself. All right, my friend, before we wrap this up, let's bring everything into focus. What you've just learned isn't about guessing or hoping, it's about seeing clearly. When a woman is truly fantasizing about you, when you're on her mind more than she admits, her body gives her away through these 9 quiet signals. One sign alone means little, but when several appear together, the message is undeniable. Words can be filtered, they can be softened, they can even deceive. Body language doesn't play that game. It comes straight from the subconscious, and it tells the truth every time. So here's my sincere advice. Don't chase words, don't argue with mixed signals, and don't overinvest in confusion. Observe. Stay calm. Stay grounded. Let reality reveal itself. If this video gave you clarity, hit the like button so other men can learn what most never see. Subscribe for more insight into attraction, relationships, and the hidden layers of psychology. Until next time, stay aware, stay disciplined, and move through life with quiet confidence.